Leo, something massive is coming between September 18th and 23rd, and it's going to shock your entire family. This is not just another week. It's a moment of divine shift. A big transfer is on its way, and it's not just financial, it's energetic, emotional, ancestral. The cosmos is realigning something huge on your behalf. You've waited, maybe not even knowing what for. You've been tested, drained, disappointed. And yet somehow, you've kept showing up. Now it's your turn. If you felt like you were walking through fog lately, or like life was holding you in some kind of strange pause, that's because it was. You were being held in a divine holding space, a spiritual quarantine, so that the noise could fade and the real plan could drop in. And now, between the 18th and the 23rd of September, that drop is happening. Some of you will literally receive news about money, a home, a position, an inheritance, or an opportunity that previously seemed locked away. But this is not about luck. This is what happens when karma completes its full circle. I'm going to be real with you, this kind of energy isn't something you can force or manipulate. You can't manifest this with just a vision board or a quick affirmation. This type of shift is the result of inner alignment, of staying true to your path even when no one was watching. That's why this transfer is so shocking, because it's going to prove that the spiritual work you've been doing behind closed doors was never in vain. And yes, your family will feel it. Some will celebrate you. Others may question how it all happened. A few may even be triggered by it, because this kind of breakthrough exposes everyone else's stagnation. But don't let that shake you. What's arriving now is not just for you, it's through you, for others. You're the vessel. Now, from an astrological perspective, this is no coincidence. During this exact time frame, the Sun in Virgo is pushing you to bring your vision down into structure, while Pluto in Capricorn is ending a long-standing karmic pattern, possibly around family, money, or power. And let's not forget that the Aries full moon energy is rising, bringing bold closure and a powerful green light for action. These are not light energies. They are tectonic. They break old contracts and sign new soul agreements. So what do? Stay calm. Stay grounded. Listen more than you talk. Watch for signs in threes. Pay attention to financial nudges. If you feel the urge to clean, organize, move, or reset, do it. That's not just motivation, that's divine timing activating your environment for the new to land. This is not the time to doubt yourself or second-guess your worth. If the universe is handing you a transfer this big, it means you're qualified to carry it. Don't dim your light to make others comfortable. Step into your new role boldly, not arrogantly, but anchored in truth. And now I want to hear from you. If something inside you feels like this message is yours, even if your mind can't fully explain why, drop a comment and confirm it. Your words are powerful. Writing them is an act of agreement with the energy that's arriving. What are you sensing is about to shift in your life? What signs have you seen? What transfer are you ready to receive? This is your moment, Leo. Own it. Anchor it. And stay open to what you cannot yet see, because what's coming is far greater than what's leaving. You didn't just wake up at 3:33 a.m. by coincidence. That hour wasn't just the result of a noisy neighbor, an unsettled dream, or a glass of water too late in the evening. That was an energetic knock at your soul's front door. Something subtle but mighty was shifting, and your spirit responded to it before your mind could explain it. That number 3:33 isn't random. It's a cosmic timestamp, a nudge from divine intelligence trying to tell you, this is your moment. Pay attention. When you start noticing repeating numbers 18, 23, 444, 888, it's not just numerology. It's an energetic code. Think of the universe as whispering secrets through sequences. 18 is not only a number, it's a spiritual threshold, a signal that a new inner chapter is unfolding. Something sacred wants to begin in your life, but first, it needs your attention. The number 23 shows up like a bridge between thought and action, between prayer and movement. It says, you're being handed something, now take the next step. And then there's 888. That one often stirs people the most. Because it carries the energy of abundance in motion like a river that's finally been unblocked. When you see 888 repeatedly, it's not just a promise of money. It's a shift in your self-worth. It's the universe saying, you're finally ready to receive what's always been yours. And 444? That's pure reassurance. That's the presence of your guides, your angels, your protectors. The ones who've been with you through everything, the breakdowns, the solitude, the silent nights when no one knew how much you were holding back tears. When 444 shows up, they are simply letting you know, you're not alone in this. We are here. Keep going. Some of you might have been having dreams lately, ones that feel deeper, more vivid, almost too real. Maybe you're waking up with your heart racing. Or perhaps you've had dreams of someone you haven't seen in years, or a place you've never been but feels strangely familiar. That's not just the mind processing random memories. It's the soul pulling in guidance, preparing you for a massive energy transfer that's already in motion. From an astrological lens, the timing of this is powerful. The full moon in Pisces from September 18th to 20th stirs the deepest waters in your emotional body. Pisces is the dreamer, the intuitive, the ancient soul. And under its light, things rise: old grief, ancient truths, soul-level clarity. It may feel like emotional overwhelm, but don't run from it. This is a cleansing. Let the tears come. Let the clarity rise like mist from water. Then comes the shake-up when the sun forms a disruptive, awakening connection with Uranus on the 21st and 22nd. That's when the old systems crack. Unexpected revelations, sudden decisions, energetic resetsia may feel like the ground beneath your life is breaking open. But that's how light gets in. That's how the new systemon aligned with your truth is born. And on the 23rd of September, the sun enters Libra. The scales return. Balance begins. You've done the inner work. The energy has been gathered. The transfer is prepared. Now, the equilibrium restores. But don't expect it to look the way you thought it would. Sometimes, balance doesn't feel like calm. It feels like clarity after a storm. Like knowing who you are now that everything else has fallen away. If you're still unsure, still doubting if this applies to you, start keeping a log. A small notebook. Record your dreams, note every repeating number you see, and write down the emotion you feel without judgment. These are not random events. They are data points. Energy codes. They're pieces of a bigger pattern, and when the moment of transfer comes in, it is commend you'll want to be able to look back and say, yes. The signs were always there. There's something sacred about tracking your own unfolding. Something humbling, too. It teaches you to trust your journey not just when things make sense, but especially when they don't. Because the transfer you're waiting for, it's not just money. It's energy. It's clarity. It's divine timing meeting prepared faith. So if you felt the nudges, the dreams, the whispers, don't dismiss them. You're not imagining this shift. You're aligning with it. You may not have seen it yet, but something has been building behind the scenes of your life quietly, patiently, faithfully. And it's not just about money. A divine transfer is not some spiritualized phrase for a bank deposit. It's a shift in who you are, and what you're ready to carry. It's the moment when life stops treating you like a student and starts recognizing you as a guide. You see, September 18th through 23 isn't just a week on the calendar. It's a window. A sacred appointment between you and your next level. Not everyone gets invited to this kind of energetic meeting, but you did. And there's a reason. You've endured the winters. You've stayed rooted while everything around you seemed uncertain. Like a seed beneath frozen soil, you waited. And now, the September sun, spiritually speaking, is warming your destiny awake. This moment is not random. The delays you thought were punishment were actually protection. The people who disappeared were actually making space. The breakdowns were setting the stage for clarity. What's happening now is a graduation of the soul. You're not just moving from one income bracket to another, transitioning from limitation to liberation. From asking permission to owning your authority. And the universe has been preparing you for this all along. So, if your heart has been feeling strangely alert lately, or your dreams more vivid, pay attention. This is the spiritual echo of the transfer being written into your energetic records. The contracts are being updated in the invisible realm. That feeling you get when something huge is coming? It's not your imagination. It's confirmation. But let's keep this grounded. This isn't about waiting for a miracle to fall from the sky. This is about meeting it halfway. That's why I want to offer you something practical and sacred. Write down in your journal, or on a slip of paper, the phrase, September 1823 Divine Transfer Gateway. Place it beneath your pillow. Not because the paper itself has power, but because your intention does. It's a sign, a declaration to heaven that you're ready. Not just to receive, but to steward what comes. I'm not here to hype you up. I'm here to remind you of what your soul already knows. You've grown through what you never thought you'd survive. And now, the shift is here. But not everyone will understand it. In fact, some people close to you may feel shocked by the changes that begin to unfold. And that's okay. Because this transfer isn't for them, it's for you. And maybe, just maybe, you're not supposed to explain it to everyone. Some things are too sacred to be spoken out loud until they've fully arrived. So be wise. Be grounded. Be discerning. But don't hold back your belief. Don't shrink to make others comfortable with the version of you that's about to emerge. If you're wondering why know, it's because heaven doesn't look for perfect people. It looks for prepared people. And preparation doesn't always look pretty. Sometimes it looks like long nights of tears. Sometimes it sounds like silence. But all of it was working. All of it was counting. All of it was sowing the ground for this exact moment. So, if you're willing, write that date down. Say a short, real prayer, no need to make it fancy. Just make it honest. Something like, I'm ready. Show me where to go. Show me what to say yes to. Protect me from what isn't mine. Fold it up. Keep it close. Not to hold on with fear but to anchor your trust. Because the transfer is already on its way. You were never waiting on money. Money was waiting on you to become the person who could handle the blessing. And now you are. You've already earned more than you know. And starting this week, it's time to collect. Leo, my dear fire-hearted friend, you may not realize it yet, but the shift you're walking through right now is not just about you. It may feel like your life is moving forward, your finances shifting, your energy clearing, your intuition sharpening, but this movement is part of something much older, much deeper. This is a sacred transfer, not merely of wealth or opportunity, but of spiritual legacy. What you're receiving is the answer to a prayer whispered decades ago. Maybe by someone whose hands once folded in silence for a future they wouldn't live to see. You are the living answer to someone's hope. There's a phrase that's been echoing in the ethers lately: you are the bridge between the bloodline and the light line. That means your journey is not isolated. It's interwoven with a thread of soul contracts, generational dreams, and ancient sacrifices. When you rise, you do so not only for yourself, but for the generations that came before and the ones yet to come. Sometimes the blessings you're receiving aren't meant to land only in your lap. They were designed to ripple forward and backward, healing both your future and your past. Think about that for a moment. Imagine your grandmother or great-grandmother sitting by the fire, whispering her heart into the universe. She didn't know how, she didn't know when, but she trusted that someone in her lineage would carry her prayers into fulfillment. That someone is you. Her dreams may have been simply stable home, health, enough food on the table, but what if you're the one who finally receives the house, the career, the abundance she only dared dream about? What if the money you're about to step into is not random, it's sacred repayment? Not just for your work, but for hers. And what about your father, or the one who stood in that place for you? Maybe he worked long hours or gave up his own ambitions so you could have a shot. Maybe he didn't know how to say it, but his actions wrote a contract in energy that the universe never forgot. The door opening for you right now might be the same door he once knocked on but couldn't pass through. But you can. This is how divine timing works. It's not just about you being ready, it's about everyone who came before you preparing the way. The pain they endured, the chances they missed, the hard choices they made. None of that disappeared. It went into a spiritual escrow, and now that vault is being opened for you. Not as a burden. As a gift. One they never stopped believing in. And it goes forward, too. The way you choose to respond to this breakthrough, whether you resist it or welcome it, whether you hoard it or share it, whether you heal or hide, will echo into the generations that follow. What you accept now becomes permission for someone who hasn't even been born yet to live with less fear, with more faith. When you heal, you break a chain. When you step into abundance, you plant a tree. You're not just living your life. You're shaping a lineage. So I invite you to pause here for a moment. Close your eyes. Who in your family comes to mind when you hear all this? Whose name rises in your spirit when I speak of long ago prayers, or sacrifices that went unnoticed? Maybe it's someone who's no longer here. Maybe it's someone who still walks beside you. Maybe it's someone whose love you never fully understood until now. Take that name, and if it feels right, write it in the comments below as a silent thank you to the sky. Let the universe see you acknowledging the ones who paved the road you're now walking on. Because none of this is an accident. The timing, the money, the opportunity, it's all part of a divine relay. And today, the baton is in your hand. Will you run with it? If this resonates, let me know who you're thinking about. Type their name with gratitude. And if you're ready to break a cycle, heal a legacy, and build something greater than yourself, let the world know. Comment below. This is your confirmation. When the spiritual tide begins to turn in your favor, you don't need to shout or rush toward it. You just need to become still enough to feel the direction of the flow, and brave enough to move with it. What's coming between September 18th and 23rd is not just a shift, it's a sacred transfer, a subtle but undeniable reallocation of universal energy, like a spiritual bank finally approving your long-delayed withdrawal. And here's the most overlooked truth: these transfers don't simply fall into your lap. You activate them. You create the opening for the transaction to occur. This is the real work, not hard, but intentional. Simple, but sacred. Quiet, but powerful. That's why lighting a candle each evening is more than a routine. It's a signal. A violet flame calls in divine wisdom and deeper spiritual connection. The emerald hue invites emotional repair and financial clarity. With each flicker, you're not asking the universe for something, it's already on the way. You're telling your nervous system, your subconscious, and your ancestors, I am ready to receive. If you've been feeling disconnected or uncertain lately, know that the light you kindle tonight is the response to that ache. Light travels faster than fear. And sometimes, that small flame on your shelf is enough to remind you that you're not lost, you're just preparing to be found. In the early morning silence, when the world hasn't yet demanded anything from you, sit with yourself. Let the 432 Hz frequency flow through your breath and bones. This is not just music, it's the vibration of peace and remembrance. You're not just calming your mind, you're tuning your energy to the exact channel on which the divine transmission will be sent. You're becoming the antenna that can receive what others are too distracted to notice. Just 10 minutes a day. That's all it takes to change how you relate to everything. And then, there's gratitude. I know people talk about it all the time. But what most forget is that gratitude is not just a list. It's a doorway. Every time you name what you're grateful for, even if it's as small as, a roof over my head, or, I made it through yesterday, you're telling the universe, look, I noticed. I see your blessings, and I welcome more. This opens the gate to even greater transfers. You'll see it in the timing of phone calls, unexpected support, or how money begins to find you instead of you chasing it. A mini altar might seem strange to some, but for those who've walked through real loneliness or doubt, it becomes an anchor. You don't need incense or statues. Just a shelf. A note. A feather. Something that reminds you, I'm being guided. Your altar is not a place to worship, it's a place to witness. To remember. To declare that this space, this moment, is holy. And when the sun goes down and dreams begin, keep a notebook beside you. You're not just sleeping. You're receiving messages, processing timelines, untying karmic knots. The dreams between the 18th and 23rd might not make logical sense, but they will hold patterns, colors, clues. Write them down. They are letters from heaven disguised as symbols. This is also a good time to cleanse your habits gently. Add magnesium to support your nervous system. Walk every day, even 15 minutes, to move stagnant energy. Tidy your desk not for productivity, but because sacred energy doesn't like clutter. Open a window. Let new ideas arrive. Review your spending. What are you buying that reflects the person you used to be, not who you are becoming? What can you release with love? And then love and hide what you feel. But don't grip too tightly either. Tell the truth. And then, release it. Trust that what's meant for you will hear your voice, even when you whisper. All of this is not about controlling the outcome. It's about aligning with the frequency of favor. About showing up for the divine meeting already scheduled on your behalf. You don't need to be perfect to activate the transfer. You only need to be present. Ready. Willing. And just silent enough to hear heaven say, "It's time." Some of you have been waking up with a weight in your chest lately. Not the kind that screams, just a quiet heaviness, like something has shifted beneath the surface but you can't quite name it. And I want to tell you, you're not broken. You're not failing. You're in the thick of the testing phase. The final gate. And the universe is silent not because it has abandoned you but because it's watching to see what you do with the silence. That argument you had with your family member recently? The one that spiraled out of nowhere and left a bruise deeper than the words spoken? It wasn't just about dishes or disrespect or timing. It was about energetic separation, about you being pulled away from what no longer fits your upgraded vibration. These emotional rifts may feel like chaos, but in truth, they are cracks in the old foundation to let the light in. You may have also noticed money coming in. And then slipping away just as fast. Unexpected bills. A job offer delayed. A bank account that looks like it's mocking your manifestation journal. Again, not failure, but friction. Like the heat created when a rocket breaks through the last layer of Earth's gravity. The turbulence isn't the destination, it's the proof you're leaving one orbit and entering another. The mood swings, the loneliness, the sudden desire to isolate yourself, those aren't signs of spiritual regression. They're birth pangs. You're not Sinkinji or re-expanding. An expansion is painful. The caterpillar doesn't know it's becoming a butterfly. It only feels its body dissolving inside the cocoon. There was once a woman I guided, let's call her El Arajo, had gone through almost every emotional trial you could imagine. Betrayal from a sibling, the collapse of her finances, estrangement from her only daughter, and an intense period of insomnia where even the night sky refused to offer comfort. She said to me once, "I feel like the ash that's left after the fire. Just smoke and memory." And yet, it was in that ash that the gem revealed itself. I remember telling her gently, "You're not ash, love. You're the ember. The glowing red ember under the gray. The storm didn't destroy you, it just blew away the layers that weren't you." And over time, her life began to reflect that truth. The daughter called one night, no apology, no explanation, just, "Can I come home?" Money appeared not in floods but in consistent trickles, just enough to restore her trust. She didn't go back to the life she lost. She built a better one. One aligned with her soul, not her fears. And that same kind of shift, Leo, is beginning to unfold for you. You might not see the evidence yet. You might still feel surrounded by smoke. But what if the breakdowns are really breakthroughs in disguise? What if the exhaustion you're feeling is not because you're doing something wrong but because you've outgrown the space you're in? There's a reason ancient texts speak of the desert before the promised land, the silence before the trumpet. There's a reason healers talk about the dark night of the soul and not the mildly annoying dusk. Transformation doesn't knock politely. It shows up like a storm and then waits to see who will rise from it holding the torch. Right now, you are that torchbearer. Not just for yourself, but for your lineage. You are the pattern breaker. The one who dared to question, to heal, to stay kind even while bleeding. That is not weakness. That is sacred power. That is spiritual maturity. So if life feels disorienting right now, if you're doubting everything, even your own goodness, I want to remind you of something simple. You didn't come here to crumble. You came here to cleanse the bloodline. To reroute the future. To remember who you really are beneath the noise. And sometimes, that noise comes in the form of people you love misunderstanding you. Of finances challenging your faith. Of emotions rising like waves and crashing with no warning. That's the static, the interference that occurs right before your energy locks in with your new assignment. Don't let the noise distract you from the message. This is your transition season. The final filtering. And when it's over, you'll be able to look back and say, that storm didn't break me. It broke open the future I was praying for. So I'll ask you now, with all the compassion in my heart, can you trust this in-between space? Can you honor the discomfort as proof that you are graduating from the old frequency? Can you whisper to yourself today, this pain has purpose? Because when you do, the universe responds. And Leo, if this message touched your soul, even just one line, would you let me know? Leave a comment. Write your affirmation. Tell the universe you're still here, still open, still brave. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, so you never miss these sacred reminders again. The test is almost over. And you, Leo, are still standing. That means you're already winning. Leo, let's end this moment together in the way it deserves to be remembered, because this isn't just another horoscope. This is your divine turning point. The big transfer isn't just about money. It's about energy. A release. A rebalancing of what was always meant to be yours. What's coming between September 18th to 23rd will not feel random. It will feel earned. As if the universe is saying, finally. You're ready. You weren't forgotten. You weren't left behind. You were being prepared for this exact moment. And if you're honest with yourself, Leo, something deep inside you has felt it all along. Haven't you noticed the way your thoughts have been shifting? The subtle inner pull to clean up your space? To distance yourself from certain people? To dream a little louder, even when it scared you? That's not coincidence. That's your soul responding to the shift. The people around you, some will understand, others won't. Some will cheer, some will question, and sadly, a few may fall away. But none of that matters now. Because this is your shift, not theirs. You've earned this transition not through perfection, but through persistence. Through getting back up when no one saw. Through praying when you didn't know what you were even praying for anymore. Through believing sometimes with trembling hands that something bigger was still watching over you. And now, it's time. The financial blessing is only the beginning. What's truly arriving is deeper, power, purpose, clarity, freedom. The ability to choose your direction instead of just surviving someone else's. You're not just receiving money, you're receiving influence, confidence, alignment, and vision. You've crossed a spiritual threshold, and the universe has taken notice. This transfer isn't a favor. It's a recognition. So, the question now is simple. Will you show up for it? Will you claim it not just in your words, but in how you carry yourself, how you love yourself, how you move from today onward? What would happen if you stopped playing small? What would your life look like if you actually allowed abundance to stay, not just visit? Think about that. Really think about it. This is not a one-time miracle, it's the start of an entirely new cycle. You are not at the end. You're at ignition. Leave a comment below. I'm ready for the transfer September 18, 2023, to claim this shift. Not just for yourself, but to help anchor the energy for others who are watching in silence, still unsure if this applies to them. Share this video with someone you love, someone who's waiting for a sign. Maybe you are their sign. And if no one else has told you this lately, thank you for showing up. Thank you for surviving. Thank you for believing in something higher. The universe sees you. And so do we. Here at Eternal Mindfulness, we're not just reading the stars, we're reminding you who you really are. And when you're ready, we'll be here guiding you toward the version of yourself that was never meant to live in fear. You've already crossed the threshold. Now walk boldly through it. Your story just turned a new page. Make it unforgettable.